You might say these things are out the top drawer. That's because back in Victorian times, if you had wealth, valuable stuff, you kept it in the top drawer of your dresser, so loaded families became known as top drawer. Remember the last time your team left you feeling as sick as a parrot? The image of the sick bird is thought to come from a classic British comedy moment, Monty Python's Dead Parrot sketch, but the phrase was first used in football by Liverpool defender Phil Thompson. He supposedly said it after Liverpool lost to Nottingham Forest in the 1978 League Cup final. Forest won thanks to a controversial penalty given away by a Thompson foul, even though it was actually outside the box. Poor guy said he felt sick as a parrot afterwards. Is there anything more embarrassing than a nutmeg in football? Weird name, but it's actually related to the trading of nutmeg, the spice. It was so expensive back in the day that corrupt exporters used to try and mix in a bit of wood in with the nutmeg to cut their costs. The term soon became slang. If you were nutmegged, it was because the person you were buying off had pulled a fast one on you. Jose Mourinho brought a lot of things to English football, and seems like one of those was the phrase "park the bus." He used it after his Chelsea side had been held to a goalless draw by Spurs in 2004. Tottenham had been extremely defensive, not trying to score, but making sure Chelsea couldn't either. Mourinho actually said, "They brought the bus and left the bus in front of the goal," as we say in my country. Finally, another phrase that actually comes from cricket. Footballers are said to have missed a sitter if they miss an easy chance. In the late 19th century, it was used in cricket to describe a moment when a fielder failed to take a catch which was so easy they should have been able to catch it sitting down. So there you have it, some of your favourite footballing cliches. And if you think this video is all over, well, it is now.
Welcome to Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux, insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. I'm your host, Olivia Buzaglo, and we have got an action-packed hour for you of radio as we build up to talkSPORT Breakfast at 6 a.m. with Jeff Stelling alongside Andy Townsend. We've got a lot coming up over the next hour.
Morning, guys. I'm Nick Ellaby. I'll be sat alongside Olivia this hour. We're obviously talking that Sesko transfer deal. You saying Sesko, Sheshko?
I was told Sesko, but it's quite hard to say. It's quite hard to say.
We'll get into that in a minute. The man himself will tell us how to pronounce his name. Big win for Rangers, possibly vindication for Russell Martin, dropping captain James Tavernier, and also Jeff Stelling on that Hartlepool beef. We've got the front back pages as well to bring you on talkSPORT this morning.
Yeah, this is Early Breakfast on talkSPORT with Adrian Flux, insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Right, well, welcome. Happy Wednesday. I've just got back from my holiday. I actually look really orange. I've just noticed on the camera. So if you're watching, it is a real tan. It's not fake tan, I promise you. But no, I'm very excited to be back at work. I've had a little break, which has been very, very nice and very much needed ahead of another busy season. I sort of tried to go to bed early last night, but obviously Chelsea announced another signing. So that was very, very fun. Esteval, Brazilian wonder kid. There's another one. What is that? 85 signings this summer, which I'm very, very excited about. But players are on the way out as well. So, I mean, Chelsea have done their business and done their business well, I think. So I think Chelsea fans will be very, very excited about that. And now, whilst Chelsea fans are very happy, there is one set of fans that aren't. I mean, you have to sort of feel for Newcastle United at this point. We understand Man United have submitted a fresh bid for what looks like the last top-level striker available in the window. And what's more, we're hearing that Sesko prefers a move to Manchester United at this point. Now, United have offered £65.1 million, plus a further £8.7 million in add-ons for Leipzig's striker. And, of course, trying to hijack Newcastle United's deal. And now United are more and more confident Sesko prefers them over the Magpies. Our reporter Ben Jacobs gave Sportsbar the lowdown on what's going on behind the scenes.
I think Newcastle are further down the line in terms of the club-to-club, but Manchester United's belief this evening is real confidence that Benjamin Sesko wants to move to Old Trafford. And with that, of course, they can very easily go to Leipzig and strike a deal. So naturally, Newcastle's offer is higher. It's a better structure. But I'm told that Newcastle have thrown the kitchen sink on the agent side, on the player side, with Leipzig. And yet still, he's not on a plane to Newcastle. And Manchester United never planned on bidding without player buy-in. And this evening, 24 hours or so after making their first formal approach, Manchester United's feeling is that the player wants to join Manchester United. And usually in this type of context, players get their way. Manchester United might need to up their offer. But I think there's a real feeling now that Sesko is going to end up at Old Trafford, not St James's Park.
Well, Leipzig haven't responded to Manchester United's bid yet as the tussle for Sesko continues. Now, Man United fans, I want to hear from you. Is Benjamin Sesko the answer? Because, to be honest, looking at this Manchester United squad, I think a number 6 is probably more important now. Or maybe a goalkeeper or even a defender. I don't know. I feel like Manchester United maybe should be focusing on the defensive side of their team rather than someone like Benjamin Sesko, because I look at that Manchester United attack with Mbeumo, with Bruno Fernandes, with Mateus Cunha, and I think those three behind a Højlund or a Xerxes could be okay. But I think a number 6 is so important. But anyway, Man United fans, I want to hear from you. Is Benjamin Sesko the man? Do you think that money could maybe be spent elsewhere? But of course, Manchester United are going for Sesko, and Andy Townsend has seen Sesko play a bunch of times whilst on COCOM's duties. He thinks Sesko and Mbeumo would be a great partnership for Ruben Amorim's new look Manchester United.
He can play up the top on his own because I think of his stature. He could have someone alongside him. He could have those 2 number 10s, which Ruben Amorim with the back 3 and the 4 in the middle, whether it's then a 1 and 2 up or whether it's 2 behind Sesko, something like that. You can see that working.
Yeah.
Again, but he's got the ability to link nicely, quickly and successfully. I think one of Rasmus Højlund's most disappointing aspects for me is that he doesn't hold the ball up well enough. He's quite a big boy, but he doesn't hang on to it very well. He doesn't seem to protect it and drop it off. Midfield players, when you're running at a striker or ball's going into your striker, you don't always want it popped back to you straight away.
No.
You want him to recognise when he can drop it back to you that gives you the chance to get your shots away or whatever from there.
Well, yeah, Andy Townsend is back on Breakfast with Jeff Stelling this morning, so you can expect plenty more from him. That's coming for you at 6 a.m. Now, United's approach for Sesko follows a club record bid from Newcastle worth £70 million plus add-ons, which actually is a greater total package than United. Newcastle's offer, which was lodged on Sunday, came with a demand that Sesko tells the club whether he wants to join within 48 hours. God, they've put a time limit on it. So Sesko is supposed to decide today, basically, if he wants to go to Manchester United or if he wants to go to Newcastle. Now, Newcastle did already have a previous offer rejected, and Sesko is believed to have agreed financial terms with both of the clubs. He needs to just make his mind up now, doesn't he? Like playing the hard game. But Newcastle need it sorted, especially with the whole Isak situation. And obviously Man United are going to want it sorted as well. But Simon Jordan actually believes that Newcastle would be a better move for him, and here's why.
Newcastle comes with expectation, but doesn't come with the same pressure that Man United comes from. You know, whilst people focus on Newcastle, and they focus on it because Newcastle makes a lot of noise, because it's a very passionate football club and the fans are very motivated by it, it doesn't have the day-to-day scrutiny that Man United has. It doesn't matter what happens. You can fart in the corridor of Man United and it's heard around the world. It's not the same at Newcastle.
It's a very interesting analogy.
Yeah, but you know what I mean in terms of what people focusing and really dialing into what happens at Man United. You've got Ruben Amorim that's presiding over a 12-year decline of Manchester United and trying to, and Ocean Liners don't turn fast, he's trying to correct it, and I think he's making lots of missteps, but then we probably all would if we were in his shoes. Whereas Newcastle, despite the frustrations around Isak, despite the frustrations of people perhaps using it as a stepping stone club, and they might not like to hear that, but it is a reality. I don't think you lose very much by going to Newcastle. You go there, you're playing on a side that's ambitious, but is a step below the radar. You go and perform at a high level, the opportunity comes again.
Well, Newcastle fans, this summer has been, I say, disappointing to say the least. And it was sort of off the back of a very good season. You know, they won their first trophy in that ridiculous amount of years, winning the League Cup, and then finished in the Champions League spots on the last day. So where has it all gone wrong this summer? So Newcastle fans, I'd love to hear from you. Like, are you worried about the season now, especially with the whole Isak situation? Obviously, beaten to a load of signings this summer: João Pedro, James Trafford, Liam Delap, Hugo Ekitike, Brian Mbeumo, just to name a few of them. But I'm confused as to why. Is it because they don't pay high enough wages? I'm confused because Newcastle are in a really good position, and you know, they're a great club with great fans, a great stadium. So why are players choosing to go elsewhere? Newcastle fans, I'd love to hear from you, especially on the whole Sesko Isak situation as well. Now, on Drive, Gabby Agbonlahor says the Toon can't seem to attract a single player at the moment.
I think it's frustrating for Eddie Howe especially, and Newcastle fans, because I'm probably missing some out here, but João Pedro, they missed out on. Mbeumo, they missed out on. Ekitike, they missed out on. Gahey, Trafford, now maybe Sesko as well. It seems any time Newcastle go in for a player, someone else is going to snap them up. Even Gahey, don't be surprised if Liverpool come and snap him up. And speaking to Gahey as well, because Canate, there's talk that Real Madrid are sniffing around him, like what they've done with Trent Alexander-Arnold. So Liverpool need another centre-half for sure before the window closes. So frustrating for Newcastle. I think Newcastle, if they tried to sign me, maybe they would miss out on me.
Gabby Agbonlahor there. Also, I sort of nicked all Gabby's words, didn't I? I sort of came out first and said all of the names that Newcastle have tried to sign, and Gabby did the exact same thing. Good minds think alike. Newcastle fans, get in touch though. If you don't get Benjamin Sesko, which at the moment it sort of looks 50-50 whether you will or you won't, will you welcome Alexander Isak back with open arms? Do you have to? Because really, are there going to be any options with the season starting so soon? 03717 223344 is the number. Please give me a call. I would love to hear from you, Newcastle fans, because it has been a pretty bad summer for you guys, hasn't it? But under Eddie Howe, I think he's a brilliant manager. And he seems to get the best out of the players he has. So I would expect another brilliant season from Newcastle, given the squad they have, if they sort out the striker situation. Now, unless you watch a lot of the Bundesliga, or you're Slovenian maybe, you might not have seen much of Benjamin Sesko, but thankfully, talkSPORT's European football expert, Kevin Hatchard, who, by the way, is one of the most impressive people I've ever met in my entire life. His knowledge is, I'm in awe every time I talk to Kev. But Kev, of course, knows so much about him. So here's a little bit on Benjamin Sesko.
He brings a lot. Tall, quick, great in the air, attacks the ball really well, strikes the ball beautifully, can score from range, really good finisher, wants to link the play, has that ability to link the play, good in transition. There are moments where he doesn't make the right decision. There are moments where he's a bit raw and he might miss a sitter here and there, but he was never going to be the finished product at 22. And he's somebody that, even though Leipzig were pretty poor last season, was still well into double figures for goals and didn't just score them in the Bundesliga, scored them in the Champions League as well. So somebody who I think clubs have been very excited about for quite a long time. United were linked with him. Manchester United were linked with him years ago, a good 6 years ago. So, yeah, he's been on the radar of top clubs for quite some time. And now he's ready for that Premier League move. So there's going to have to be a little bit of patience, because any player that moves leagues and moves clubs and what have you needs a bit of settling in time. But the potential is enormous.
Yeah, I think whoever gets Benjamin Sesko, I mean, he does feel like the only striker around right now. But I suppose you could argue Newcastle definitely need a striker if they're going to get Alexander Isak go. And I'm still not sure whether Manchester United, that should be their priority this window. Obviously, I know based off of last season, most people would say that, but I think their attack now, I think that's a really good attack. Even with Højlund and Xerxes, I think those 3 players behind them, I think they should be going for a defensive player personally. Now, we like to get things right, don't we? We like to get pronunciations right. Now, Benjamin Sesko, there's quite a few pronunciations I've heard of his name. Now, instead of me just trying to get it right, how about we hear from the man himself on how to say his name?
Normally, I would love to call me with my second name, so Sesko, but if it's a name, it can be Benjamin, yeah.
So Benjamin. It's not even Benjamin. And I feel like as, people that work in football, we should be getting this right. We should be saying the players' names correctly. That's why we do those whole media days at the start of the season, and we get the players we say, right, how do you say your name? Let's just hear it again, shall we? This is how you pronounce his name properly.
Normally, I would love to call me with my second name, so Sesko, but if it's a name, it can be Benjamin, yeah.
Okay, but what does that mean? So it's Sesko. I think I've got that right. Sesko. It's actually really hard. It's actually a really hard name to say over and over again. But Benjamin. So it's not Benjamin, it's Benjamin. Sesko. I think this is an awkward, it's in those media days, right? I've been to plenty of them, and it's difficult because obviously, when we speak in English, there obviously is a difference between how we pronounce things. So, all of the Portuguese players, right, for example, I think is the best example I can give, is Bruno Fernandes, right? His name in Portuguese is Bruno Fernandes. But are we going to call him Bruno Fernandes? I don't think we are. We're going to call him the Anglicized, is that the right word? Version, which is Bruno Fernandes. And I also think that at the start of the season, if you ask him how to say the name and he says Bruno Fernandes, are managers, people that work in football, going to be calling him that? Probably not. However, we have got the correct pronunciation of Benjamin Sesko. So everyone out there, whether he goes to Manchester United, whether he goes to Newcastle, that is how you pronounce it. Benjamin Sesko. Right, it's time for a quick break now, but up next, we will take a look through the back pages and hear from the Rangers boss, Russell Martin. Breakfast with Adrian Flux. Get a tailor-made quote for your commercial vehicle. Search Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. Jeff Stelling is on Breakfast this morning, and alongside him is hard rock fan, animal enthusiast, and a veteran of 2 World Cups, and one of the nicest men in football. I know I said it earlier, and I'll say it again because he is. Andy Townsend is joining him. You can catch that from 6 a.m. Don't forget, you can listen to all our stations on the talkSPORT app. If you want some music, Virgin Radio is there. There's even a Virgin Radio Britpop station on the app there. Or for news, you can find Talk and Times Radio. Just swipe between our stations. Here are some of your headlines this Wednesday morning. Anti-discrimination charity Kick It Out have criticised social media platforms after receiving a record number of reports relating to abuse in football last season. The figures reveal troubling rises across several categories, with racism remaining the most commonly reported form of discrimination. Significant increases were also recorded in cases of sexism, transphobia and faith-based abuse. Kick It Out processed 1,398 complaints in total. Now, as we heard at the top of the show, Rangers took another step towards reaching the Champions League group stage. They eased to a 3-0 victory over Victoria Pilsen in the first leg of their third qualifying round tie. JD Gassama scored twice, with Cyril Dessers finding the net from the penalty spot as well. Here's Rangers boss Russell Martin.
The guys that came in the team were fantastic. We're going to need everyone. You don't get dropped from this team. People will come in and out quite a lot because we need to be fresh. So it's not easy to leave people out. But they came on, the guys that had come out of the team, and they came on and did brilliantly.
And Oval Invincibles began their defence of their 100 cricket title by thrashing London Spirit by 6 wickets. They bowled their opponents all out for just 80 runs. They then reached the target with 31 balls to spare. The Spirit began their defence of their women's title with a 17-run victory over the Invincibles. For more on all of these stories, you can visit talksport.com. Time now to look at the back pages with Nick Ellaby.
Good morning, how's it going?
Hi, Nick. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Pleasure to join a world champion in the studio.
I actually haven't had much time because obviously since Chelsea won the Club World Cup, I don't know if anyone knows that we became world champions. I honestly, do you know what? Rory Jennings is a shout out to you. He definitely won't be. Oh, he might be because he's got 2 kids, so he might be up at this time. Rory Jennings is a shout out to you because I actually don't really wear a lot of my football shirts. I have so many of them. However, this is a special occasion. I have bought myself a Chelsea shirt this season with the gold badge on it, with World Champions 25, and I'm going to wear it for the first game, Palace at home. I probably won't wear it again after that, but I'm going to because I think it should be celebrated.
Do you not wear football shirts?
I do. So I play football. I have played football most of my life, and I still play like 5 and 7 aside. So if I play, then I would. But I don't. There's not really like an old school retro one I might wear more than like a current one. But I have so many football shirts. I basically have every Chelsea shirt for years. I get them every year. I don't know why.
Would you wear another British club shirt?
What?
Foreign clubs?
I've got like a random shirt that I got sent once, and it's like pink and purple, and it's really cute, and I like it.
Sounds nice.
But I could never wear like another British clubs. You can't be doing that. Would you?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Foreign clubs, yeah, definitely. All right, so back pages. I mean, I think the first thing that caught my eye was that 1 million people were watching that unbelievable finish to the 5th test between England and India at the Oval. We only got 56 minutes of play, didn't we, on Monday, and India winning by 6 runs in the end. Usually, weekday session of non-Ashes cricket attracts about 500,000, so double the viewers. Here in the talkSPORT studio, we were all gathered round together. I mean, I'm mad about Test cricket, but I think that the Test match provides a kind of a drama that I would say no other sport can quite provide because of the amount of time, the build-up, the tension. It's almost tantric.
It was amazing. Poor Chris Wokes. Because I was coming back. I think I was coming back from holiday. So I was listening to it on the radio. And Sam Ellard, actually I was listening to it on talkSPORT, and Sam Ellard was like, he's coming out one-handed. And I just couldn't believe it. And then when I got home, I rushed in the door to put it on. And we were talking about this off air. I sort of wanted to see him face a ball. Yeah. And I know a lot of people probably would agree with me, but I know you're one that sort of disagrees and maybe didn't want to see him face a ball because I suppose of how dangerous,
I will never forget that drama.
Yeah.
it was unbelievable to watch. Hats off to Chris Woakes for doing it. But, you know, there's that debate at the moment in cricket whether we should have substitutions. Ben Stokes says no. If you get an injury, tough S. But, you know, I think, is it fair to make a human being maybe potentially make his own injury worse? I mean, we might never see Chris Woakes again in an England shirt. So, you know, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, rest of the back pages, a good piece by Martin Ziegler, the Times chief sports reporter. He's always got the inside scoops on certainly the business and transfers as well. And this is talking about top flight legal costs for the Premier League, spiralling, potentially out of control. The Premier League club chiefs, Martin writes in the back of the Times, increasingly concerned the legal bill from cases involving Manchester City and Chelsea are getting too much. The league's operating expenses up by £81 million for 23-24. That was on top of a £44 million increase in operating expenses 22-23. Senior figures in football, he's writing, have been told that costs to both sides of the Premier League's case against City may have topped 200 million. We were supposed to get a result on that. We still haven't heard what's going on.
I wonder what's going to happen with that.
And also Chelsea, those irregular payments by Roman Abramovich that they self-reported when Clearlake and Bowley came in. You know, huge costs there. And also those PSR battles with Nottingham Forest, with Everton, with Leicester. But, you know, we could, Simon Jordan potentially talking about PSR rules changing, so maybe that would all change. That could help Newcastle, but Premier League spending a lot of money on this at the moment.
Yeah, they actually are, aren't they? Right, thank you very much, Nick.
Cheers.
Always a pleasure. Up next, we're going to hear from Jose Mourinho, who was getting very emotional about the passing of his old Porto captain, Jorge Costa.
Shin pads are a footballer's best friend. Even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there actually any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads for a century. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. His Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894 in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this kind of protection was pretty important for footballers. And so, in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says they must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, even though there have been calls for it to be changed. But for now, that's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
Breakfast with Adrian Flux, the cover you need at a price you'll love. With What Band Insurer of the Year 2021. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Don't forget you can watch the show and all talkSPORT shows on your smart TV and on YouTube as well. Some of the headlines you're waking up to this morning. Crystal Palace manager Oliver Glasner is hopeful they'll win their appeal against their demotion from the Europa League to the Conference League. The FA Cup holders have been put into the lower competition because of multi-club ownership rules. American businessman John Textor, who also owns Lyon, has since sold his stake in the Selhurst Park side. Manchester City defender John Stones is confident the team has the hunger and determination to reclaim their Premier League crown after a disappointing 2024-25 campaign. They surrendered the title they'd won in 4 consecutive years to Liverpool, finishing third behind Arsenal. Stone says everyone is desperate to put things right in this upcoming season.
To finish third is, to our standards, not good, and how we played through the season. And we've got to put that right and get back to get back to winning matches and having that presence about us and believing in ourselves as a team.
Can they do it as well? I mean, it looks like Liverpool, with the signings they've made, I think maybe not nailed on for the Premier League title as well, because everyone's going to get better. But I think Liverpool have put themselves in a brilliant position. And their forward Cody Gakpo has revealed he set personal targets for the upcoming campaign. But he's keeping them close to his chest. The Netherlands international played a key role last season, got 10 goals and 4 assists to help them capture the Premier League title. But he wants to better those numbers this time around.
For myself, it's just a case of keep going and keep being important for the team with goals and assists and work rate and defensive stuff, whatever the coach wants to see. And hopefully it's going to be a great season.
For more on all these stories, you can visit talksport.com. Now, we've been talking about Newcastle's disastrous-looking window. It feels harsh, but I feel like that is what it is at the moment. Manchester United appear to be in pole position now to sign Benjamin Sesko. If you missed it a little bit earlier, that is how you say his name, Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig, after trying to hijack their deal. I mean, Newcastle fans, what are you thinking? Because when it looked like you might be getting a striker to potentially then let Alexander Isak go to Liverpool, Manchester United. What happens, by the way, if he goes to Manchester United? What happens? Because does that mean Alexander Isak stays? Because we're getting closer and closer now to the start of the Premier League season. Surely Eddie Howe wants this done sooner rather than later. But if Sesko chooses United, does that just mean Alexander Isak doesn't go to Liverpool? Newcastle fans, I would love to hear from you on what has been, can we call it a disastrous window? Because it feels like that. Now, talkSPORT's Andy Townsend has seen Sesko play a bunch of times and gave Paul Hawksby some key insights about the striker.
biggest thing about him to start with, 6'5", but he's not a 6'5" in the sense of just,
a target man,
knocking things up to him and he's nodding them back to people running towards him. No, he's a very, very technical footballer. He looks very two-footed. His finishing ability is, he's got that lovely technique, that lovely ability to strike a ball very sweetly. Not all strikers, believe it or not, it sounds stupid, even some of the top players, not every striker out there is blessed with that ability to hit things crisp and sweet on the half volley, Paul. If they come to him, doesn't have to take a touch always, seems to be able to adjust his feet in order to get his strikes away on goal. I don't think he's going to be the most prolific that we've seen on these shores, but I think if you look at his record in Germany over the last couple of years, all in with his European performances and the domestic cups, he's 20 and 20 plus each season.
Now, Andy is on breakfast this morning with Jeff Stelling, so expect plenty more like that from him from 6 a.m. this morning. Now, this is a rather emotional one. Jose Mourinho has paid tribute to his Porto Champions League winning captain, Jorge Costa, who has died at the age of 53. Charlton fans will remember Costa. He actually played on loan there in the 2001-2002 season. Reports in Portugal say the former centre-back, who was Porto's director of football, suffered a cardiac arrest at the club's training ground. Now, Jose Mourinho fought back tears in a press conference when he was asked about Jorge Costa as a player and as a man.
Yeah, you have captains, you have leaders, and as Mert was saying, sometimes it's not about the armband, it's about what you represent. And Jorge was one of these guys that cleaned the garbage and let the coach do his job as a coach and not as the leader of a dressing room. That's perfection for a coach when his captain does this work. And of course I'm very sad, but I'm here because if he could speak with me now, he would tell me, come on, do your press conference. And he would say tomorrow, play the game. Yeah. Play the game, mister. Win the game and forget about me. That would be George. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Do my job today, do my job tomorrow, and then cry after. But today and tomorrow I have a job to do, and I know that George would tell me to do my job.
It was a very emotional Jose Mourinho there. Now, Costa actually only spent a short amount of time in England. He was loaned out to Charlton before winning the Champions League with Porto. He was only there 6 months, but the Charlton fans loved him. They voted him into the club's all-time best 11, so he had some impact. Porto, I think they put out a lovely tweet on X. Can we call it tweet on X, saying a leader, a captain, an example, and a symbol of Porto FC. I mean, if there are any Charlton fans out there that remember Jorge Costa and what he did for Charlton in that small amount of time, let us know. Get in touch, because we'd love to hear from you on different memories of him as a player. Now, of course, he won so much, didn't he, at Porto, and everyone that's spoken about him, spoken about what he was on the pitch. He was an animal. He was one of the best leaders. I think Jose Mourinho described him as one of the best leaders and best captains he's ever had. That was, really, really sad news. And that was a very emotional Jose Mourinho as well. But Charlton fans, if you get in touch, we'd love to hear from you on what Jorge Costa was like and any memories you have of him as a player. Right, time for now something a little bit lighter. Dean Saunders was on Sports Bar last night, back on his favourite hobby horse, complaining about new football terminology. Now, he did not understand a player referring to themselves as a cam.
I said, what position do you play, son? He went, cam. I went, cam? What's cam? I went, I've been in football all my life. What's cam? I said, I've heard of MFI and B&Q. What's cam? See, central attacking midfield player. Yeah. And what about you? Where do you play? CDM.
CDM.
I went, CDM? What's... Anyway, it's off FIFA, isn't it? Because when you buy a player, They have a position, don't they?
Yeah. Well, we just use numbers, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we want to do a 6 or a 10 or an 8. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
What
how
about that? They're playing with 2 8s. What's all that about?
Dean Saunders really just not getting a cam. I mean, yeah, we all know what a cam is. I think I know what a cam is. Sports Bar is back at 10 p.m. with my fellow Chelsea fan, Jason Cundy, and he's joined by the beast, Adebayo Akinfenwa, who I'm sure is going to be buzzing with Liverpool's transfer window so far, especially if they get Alexander Isak. But yeah, you can catch that later on this evening. Now, Nick's back. Time to look at
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move!
The front page is first on the early sports breakfast. talkSPORT.
Right, Nick is back.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Got to get Adrian Flux in first.
Adrian Flux.
He's more important than me. You a Gary Lineker fan?
Yeah, I like Gary, yeah.
Me too. Listen, he's got a new job, it looks like. Front page of The Sun today. ITV swoop for MOTD legend. I like that The Sun have gone with sort of transfer jargon for it. He will host Saturday night show. Lineker back on the box. He's supposed to be hosting this this format called The Box, which is apparently a big hit in Norway, and it sees 12 celebrities put in separate boxes, each with a challenge to complete, like big sort of shipping containers, I think they are.
Oh, God, doesn't sound fun.
It sounds a bit, it sounds a bit mad. It's been described as I'm a Celebrity crossed with SAS Who Dares Wins. And there's a quote here saying ITV have long been sniffing around Gary. They just needed to find the right format for him. So he's the new Ant and Dec, I think it looks like.
God.
I think I mean, he's such a talented presenter.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
I think he obviously tried his hand at the golf, which had mixed reviews, but he's one of the funniest, one of the most natural presenters out there. So
I like him in football.
Right.
I like him in football.
But he's going to keep presenting football for other people, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like we're going to miss him.
No.
And then this one caught my eye as well in the Daily Star. Parrot grasses up drugs gang. This is in Blackpool. So apparently some police in Blackpool came knocking on what they thought was a suspected drug dealers gang, and they were grassed up by their parrot Mango, who belonged to the ringleader's girlfriend, was caught on video saying 2 for 25, which is apparently a reference to deal for crack cocaine.
No.
Blackpool police put on their Facebook, a drug dealer's parrot learned how to say 2 for 25, common language used by the organised crime gang, not a phrase you want your parrot squawking when the police come knocking. You had any weird pets ever?
No, I did have a cat, and everyone always thought the name was weird.
What was the name?
Joshua.
Why, what? Because it's a person.
Because it's like a person's name.
Oh, yes.
And we had 3 gerbils as well, which were like mini rats, but they were really good. And I don't really like rats, but like they were just really cute. And mine was called Archie, and it had to be put in a separate cage because the other 2 like beat him up and were bullying him. How sad.
Poor Archie.
I know, poor Archie.
And,
they're buried in the back garden in ice cream boxes.
Did you see that story yesterday about a zoo, I think it was either in Denmark or Norway, that's appealing for people to send in their unwanted pets to feed to the lynx? Yeah. So animal rights groups obviously a bit upset about this.
Who in their right mind is sending their own What?
I think the zoo's obviously seen a little gap in the market there. Lots of unwanted pets out there. I mean, I think the lesson is, unless you know you've got enough time and energy and money to care for an animal, maybe don't take it on. But yeah, anyway.
That's so weird. What on earth?
And just finally, you an Ozzy Osbourne fan?
I mean, yeah.
Well,
not here nor there.
He's now been immortalised as a scarecrow in Charmouth in Dorset. Residents are holding their first scarecrow contest. Chose music legends as its theme. The clear favourite to win is a version of Ozzy. You can see that on page 3 of the Daily Star. Looks a bit like a zombie version of Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, I'm not sure.
There are also Elton John, David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, and also Dolly Parton immortalised as scarecrows down in Dorset.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say, to be honest.
Nothing to say, really.
Thank you very much, Nick. Up next, we're building up to talkSPORT Breakfast. Andy Townsend is on with Jeff Stelling this morning. Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. I'm Olivia Buzaglo. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day it is, isn't it? How is everyone? How has their week gone so far? Just first of all, I'm going to give you a quick transfer roundup. An agreement has been reached between Manchester City and Girona for Vitor Reis to be sent out on loan. talkSPORT understands the Brazilian will be heading to La Liga for some more regular game time this season. Hull City are in talks to sign former Manchester United defender Brandon Williams. talkSPORT understands. Williams, who was handed a suspended prison sentence in May, has been without a club since leaving Manchester United last summer. Now, Liverpool fans will recognise the EFL's latest signing. Derby County have announced the arrival of Bobby Clark on a season-long loan from Red Bull Salzburg. The 20-year-old has returned to English football only a year after leaving Liverpool to head to Austria. And West Ham are making a fresh push to sign Leicester City goalkeeper Mads Hermansen. talkSPORT understands terms are already in place with the Foxes shot stopper. This comes despite the Hammers already virtually agreeing a deal to bring in Botafogo's John Victor. We'll have all the latest transfer news with Alex Crook on breakfast. And you can read more on all these transfers at talksport.com. Now, also coming up on talkSPORT today, Andy Gale forced Goldstein's aiming to win a 9-ball pool match on the professional tour out in Orlando, Florida. Yesterday, it was more like a Gale farce. Sorry, Andy. As the Drive presenter went down 9-1 to the Earl, the Pearl Strickland in his first round match. Although, to be fair, Strickland is one of the greatest pool players of all time. Andy explained why his performance isn't as bad as it sounds.
It wasn't a great day at the office, if I'm being honest. You are right, Earl Strickland is probably the greatest pool player of all time. And 9-1 is something to be ashamed of. But I had lots of chances. I didn't play well. I've been lucky enough to be invited here. I played in the UK and I played in the US Open. And all the other tournaments when I played, I held a good account of myself. I played well. Yeah. Even though I lost, I played well. It's just a scrappy match. Every time he broke, he didn't put a ball, and all the balls sort of glued onto each other. It wasn't a pretty rack to look at, and it was just one of those days we go. Ugh. But I got a rack, and I'm really pleased about that. Yeah. But I would have lost today because he's a much better player, but I could have maybe won 2 or 3 more.
Poor Andy. Now his second game will be broadcast on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. That'll be at 4 p.m. And the Drive show will, of course, be crossing over to our reporter Ollie Klink throughout. The boys sound like they're on an absolute jolly out there, by the way, which means Gabby Agbonlahor is back on Drive with Natalie Sawyer. That's from 4 p.m. today. Also on Drive, Gabby sat down with Crystal Palace midfielder Adam Wharton to discuss winning the FA Cup, how excited he is for European football at Selhurst Park, as well as looking ahead to the Community Shield against Liverpool, which is live on talkSPORT this weekend. And he was also asked about his aims for the upcoming campaign.
My season last year was a bit stop-start with injury. So for Palace, I want to stay as fit as possible, play as many games as I can, because obviously we'll have a lot of games this year, hopefully. Just try and help the team as much as possible and do even better than we did last year. And then, I think every player that's English in the Premier League wants to, be picked to go to America from the end of the season. So, I don't really set too many goals personally. I just take it game by game, trying to improve. I can feel within myself I'm doing well or I can be doing better. But, obviously, when the time comes, and, obviously, you're hopeful that your name will be picked and you're on the plane.
That is Adam Wharton talking. That I really, really like Adam Wharton. Every time I've watched him play, I've been so impressed. And I don't know, I just think he would be the perfect player for England as well. Declan Rice isn't a 6. He's not going to play in that role. I think Declan Rice is a much better 8. But I love Adam Wharton. I think his ability on the ball is absolutely brilliant. And I don't know, just as much as Palace fans will be hoping to keep him, I think another season, if he stays fit and does what he does, I'm not sure how much longer he'll be at Palace. But Adam Wharton is a brilliant, brilliant footballer from what I've seen from him. And you can hear that full interview with Adam Wharton this afternoon from 4 on Drive with Natalie Sawyer and Gabby Agbonlahor. Now, of course, talkSPORT Breakfast is coming up at 6 a.m. That is with Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend. Now, Jeff will discuss that bombshell letter from Hartlepool owner Raj Singh asking National League clubs not to let him sit with staff at away games in the National League this season. Obviously, we will get Jeff's opinion on all of that, because it's a huge story, isn't it? He, of course, resigned as the honorary president of his boyhood club in May amid his protests against the club's ownership. The talkSPORT breakfast host and broadcast legend criticised their decision to sack manager Anthony Limbrick earlier in the summer. He then revealed he'd be boycotting Hartlepool home matches in the upcoming National League season. However, in a letter obtained by talkSPORT, Singh has asked clubs to ban him from sitting with Pool's officials at away games. So obviously Jeff Stelling is on talkSPORT breakfast at 6 a.m. So we will be speaking to Jeff and seeing how he's feeling about that and why he thinks it's happened and sort of what happens next and just his feelings on the whole thing. We have, of course, been talking today about Benjamin Sesko and Newcastle United and Manchester United. Where is the Slovenian striker going to go? We found out that how you pronounce his name is actually Benjamin Sesko. So if you are someone that, and I think everyone needs to do this, everyone should be trying to pronounce his name properly, and it is Benjamin. It's not Benjamin, it's Benjamin Sesko. And I like this on the back page of The Sun. Flo forgets fee. Florian Wirtz will ignore his massive price tag and focus on making Liverpool Premier League champions once again. Now, it's all good and well saying you're going to forget the price tag. However, we have seen a lot of players come for a lot of money in the Premier League and struggled with the price tag. Now, he cost a ridiculous amount of money. I think it's over £115 million with everything included. I want to see Cole Palmer numbers. I want to see Cole Palmer's first season at Chelsea, even his second season. I'll take his second season at Chelsea because I know he went off the boil a little bit. But I think for that amount of money in an attacking position, I want to see Cole Palmer levels. And if I don't get that, then I don't know. But Florian Wirtz, is determined not to let the price tag get in the way. I mean, Liverpool look really good, don't they? This season, and I think probably favourites to maybe go on and win the Premier League once again. Right, talkSPORT Breakfast follows us at 6 a.m. with Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend this morning. Here's what's coming up. We have Mark Lawrenson on to discuss Liverpool's upcoming season. Like I say, they've put themselves probably in the best possible position to go and win the Premier League once again, but will they want to focus on the Champions League as well? We'll have former Charlton captain Greg Docherty, David Tanner on Rangers' win over Pilsen and Russell Martin's revolution. Former Aussie cricketer Brad Hogg will preview the Winter Ashes. David Bumble Lloyd as well. And we'll have West Ham's Tony Cottee. I think West Ham's an interesting talking point, given the situation they're in and the summer they've had and the players they've signed. So can Graham Potter get the best out of that West Ham squad? Right. That is it from me. We have been listening to Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux. I've been Olivia Buzaglo. I've loved it, and I hope you have too. Insurance for the individual. You can find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. It's talkSPORT Breakfast, and it's Jeff and Andy Townsend up for you next.